He's over here heating up soup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take note, nowhere in this
Not
chapter
cold.
does Juliet eat it.
Apparently she doesn't eat warm soup, just cold.
Absolutely not. Must be cold. Welcome to Shelf Indulgence, where stories come alive in conversation. I'm Remy, your host and first-time reader, turning the pages alongside each guest as they revisit a book that has left its mark on them. Together, we linger over passages, chase down themes, and wander through the margins of a story worth revisiting. Whether you're turning the pages for the first time with me or revisiting a favorite alongside my guest, I'm glad you've joined us on this journey. Hello and welcome back to Shelf Indulgence. Today we are wrapping up our journey through the Unraveling, the section of wool that has pushed both us and the characters right up against the edge. This is the final piece of the 4-part discussion with Michael, and then on to the last section of the book. I am so excited to see where this story leads us. Let's get to it.
If you had the strength of 20 men, it would dispatch you straight. I don't understand that quote at all. I feel like it's missing part of the sentence.
I feel like there's a little bit of context missing for a lot of these. And even going back to some of them, I didn't understand what relation they had to the chapter.
Yeah, same. I wasn't fully sure of any of that.
Which is kind of what makes me wonder if it's a full stanza or something like that from Romeo and Juliet, like in order. I haven't looked to put it together to see if that's the case or not.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to check.
Nonetheless, I don't know.
Well, let's see. So it says, a glooming peace this morning with it brings, the sun for sorrow will not show his head. Go hence to have more talk of these sad things. Some shall be pardoned and some punished. Thy old groans ring yet in my ancient ears. Is there no pity sitting in the clouds that sees into the bottom of my grief? O sweet my mother, cast me not away. 1, 2, and the third in your bosom. Eyes look your last, arms take your last embrace, and lips owe you the doors of breath. Seal with a righteous kiss a dateless bargain to engrossing death. Yeah, so 5 chapters in, this isn't making any sense, so I doubt it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like there's any congruency. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder how he chose some of these, because I know that this one in particular on chapter 49 is indeed it's in relation to what's about to happen, obviously.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't make a ton of sense. Maybe we'll pick up a meaning as we go through the chapter, but it doesn't.
If you had the strength of 20 men, it would dispatch you straight.
I don't know. Maybe we're too dumb. We need some.
Like I assume it's like straight away, or I don't know.
That would be my assumption.
I don't know.
But why?
Romeo and Juliet, Shakespeare very well. I'm not a Shakespearean scholar, so I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, same, obviously. But I mean, this could specifically be talking about Knox having the strength of 20 men. This could be in reference to him, and unfortunately, we do believe. Is it this chapter or is it a followling chapter?
Yeah, it's this chapter.
It's not.
It's absolutely.
Is it? Okay.
No, it's not.
Okay, so.
Oh no, it's Knox. So no, it's not, because it's a Lucas chapter when it all.
That's right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I think it's the next. No, it's not. No, it's 51. Okay, so yeah, I don't know why it has this in relation to Knox right now. He is a man that you might assume to have the strength of 20 men.
Yeah,
but
right.
Beyond that, I don't know what relationship this really has to the chapter itself. But it's an interesting chapter. It's we're with Knox, as we mentioned. He's once again ruminating on wanting this to be a bloodless takeover, which, isn't that always the hope. But as we've already discussed at length, that's rarely the case.
Yeah.
And I mean, jumping into this chapter, man, the thing that hit me right out the gate, you got Mark prepping for war right next to his wife. Mm-hmm. And when I read that, I kind of stepped back for a second. I'm like, God, can I even imagine what it would feel like to prep for war right next to Ash? Like, mm-hmm. I can't fathom the thought of her being in that kind of danger and me not being able to really do anything about it.
Yeah. Like the quote here, talking about how he thought the worry was evident in the man's frown, the tilt of his eyebrows. Mm-hmm. Knox shift leader wasn't hiding the concern for his wife as well as he probably thought he was.
Yeah. Yeah. And who could really?
Mm-hmm.
But this is also the part where I know we mentioned earlier where the on the next page it says that they have visitors coming in. And the first question Shirley asks is what color? So people are very defined by the color of their overalls, which is interesting. It's like they coincide with the cards, I assume. Although, well, I guess the sheriff does have a gold one and they have a gold star. Blue is mechanical. Yellow is supply. So yeah. And I guess they're, from what we know, their cards coincide with their. Yeah, we know that.
Okay, then that would make sense then. I don't know what color sheriff's, coveralls are, but at least they have the gold star, so that would kind of make sense.
Yeah, I can't imagine them walking around in gold coveralls.
Yeah. I mean, when you think of like fabric in the color of gold, it's, not going to necessarily be shiny and it's going to look more orangish, probably orangey yellow, but you could probably pull it off somehow.
It could also look more tan, like we can assume an officer's outfit. I mean, even current day officer. So you don't want to give him a brown card, so you give him a gold card, and it still kind of works. That could very well be.
And gold implies higher level. Granted, I don't know if they would care about that because it's not like gold is probably a gem or not gem. What is it? A metal precious metal that they're trying to collect for prettiness sake. But I don't know.
That's interesting. Well, I mean, you do need
any
gold.
Gold they have is probably used in electronics.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, you need gold for electronics and connections and things of that nature. So that's probably just a utilitarian. That's interesting because our society, we value gold very much for some ridiculous reason. But as far as actual usefulness is concerned, it's a great conductor. But beyond that, it's a soft metal. It doesn't really do anything vital beyond that.
Right.
So
it's just pretty.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Makes nice looking rings.
Yeah, that's about it. And actually, I'm not going to go back and check, but do you remember if it mentioned Juliet's ring being made of gold?
I don't remember. I was actually just thinking the same thing. I don't know if that ring was gold or not. It was just a wedding band, I think.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. Maybe we'll have to go look back and look at that when we're not recording. But maybe that's it.
Could also just be like that's the carryover from, the old world. Carry over gold is a high level, authority, whatever, platinum, that sort of thing. I don't know. Anyway, moving on.
But one of the blue, the leader of the blue coming in is Peter, who apparently works in the refinery. And is it, am I remembering correctly in the fact that he was a shadow to Knox at some point? Is this the guy that grew his own beard?
Yeah, it might have been that guy. I think it might have been. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so.
Yeah, I know one of them. At one point we learned of a shadow of Knox's that grew his own beard and got his own shadow.
Well, whomever that was, he was telling to basically run everything with like a 5-man crew. And they've been left in the bottom. That guy stayed down there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think you're right. Okay, so Peter is simply from refinery. So he and his crew are backup for the coming incursion.
Oh, and they're the black coveralls. Oh no! Oh yeah. But they're customary black coveralls replaced with a more discreet blue, so it doesn't seem like refinery's coming up because that would probably raise more questions.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I feel like refinery and mechanical. Number one, mechanical shouldn't be up there in the first place, as has been pointed out many times by what's her name, McLean. Mm-hmm. But the black sounds like it's even more rare, so they they slightly less camouflage or slightly more camouflage than they otherwise would have been.
I wonder if the refinery crew wears black because like what they're doing causes all of their clothes to be black anyway. So it's just like
that was my assumption.
Just wear black.
It makes sense. That makes perfect sense for me. But yeah, so he shows up and he's got a backup crew, and he's talking about how the porters there's rumblings with the porters and they're not going to be quiet for very long. There's no way that IT doesn't know that they're coming.
Yeah, I like the way he says it. He says the stairs sing with traffic.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I like that a lot. He suggests that maybe a small incursion would have been best. What do you think about that? I mean, not knowing what's waiting for them specifically.
So we know, of course, that they're preparing for war, and that was what was going to happen always. So not knowing what was coming, it's hard to say what would have worked best. Knowing what's coming, I still don't know if a small incursion would have been any better. We know that
I don't think so.
A bloodbath. I mean, it's in a couple of chapters from where we are now, but we know it ends up being a bloodbath. I would think a small incursion could be better at infiltration. Like maybe they could pass off that they're not there for war. Like if there's not a whole bunch of them coming in, like barging through the doors, maybe they'd have a better chance. Like maybe to try to get into a meeting with Bernard. I was almost couldn't remember his name, and I just called him Ratface because, you know, fuck it. But so like maybe try to get a meeting with Bernard and then, like, you know, murder him or some shit like that. Maybe. And that might have been more successful if they'd been able to do that. But I suspect that even a small group would have been met with resistance by IT. Like they probably still 100%. Would have been treated they've already, like they're preparing for war.
Yeah, they've already set up. We know that a small incursion wouldn't have been any more impactful, probably less impactful, though they wouldn't have lost as many people. They also, I think 3 people in IT die in the incursion. We'll get to that point, but it's interesting to think about because tactically speaking, a small incursion is probably the best bet in this situation. What I
would have gone for. Like if I was in that situation, that's probably what I would have tried for, because I think that the full on bring everybody up is noisy. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
You're going to be seen. Yeah. It's like there's no way to hide that, despite them thinking they're going to be able to hide it. Like later on, when he talks about his gun being covered and like the barrel of the gun being uncovered at some point in time, and, you know, having to cover it back up. It's like this is all. It's a facade. You know, it's like this pretending to be undercover when in reality everybody can figure out what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, I'm jumping ahead a bit here, but I want to bring up a line right before things kick off, if I can find it. Oh yeah, here it is. It's a few pages ahead as well. It's actually a couple chapters ahead. But I mean, Knox thinks it best. Anyone with eyes and ears could tell some kind of reckoning was coming. I mean, that says it all right there.
Exactly.
There was no way to hide this. It was
obvious.
Yeah.
It was obvious it was coming.
I think a small incursion tactically would have been the best bet, probably the best first attempt. But I don't think they would have
first attempt,
been able to get 3.
I think they just jumped straight from, you know, we're angry to we're going to war. No planning, no negotiations, no attempt at talking, which I guess would be negotiations. No small, like, you know, what's it called when you go and you get information? Recon. Reconnaissance. There we go. No reconnaissance. No nothing. Right. Just like straight up. Let's make guns.
It's time,
and let's go up there and kill some mofos.
Yeah, pretty aggressive.
And I feel like there should have been more to it.
Yes, but I do see the value in what they attempted as well, because had Bernard not been as prepared as the book allowed him to be, they may have had the element of surprise to some degree, because I didn't assume that IT would have a stockpile of guns. Right. I mean, I guess I suppose I should have. But
like if you'd put some thought into it, it might have made sense. Yeah. But like going along with the book, the way it's written, it's like I didn't even like think about that.
Yeah, we knew of one gun that was kind of ornamental at best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and so we didn't expect a stockpile. We didn't expect them to know,
and not even in IT. That was the sheriff's gun.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't expect them to know that people were on the way. We didn't expect them to be as prepared and not reactive. So getting everybody up there within a number of hours, that's a pretty solid plan if you think you've got that element.
Mm-hmm.
They had no way of knowing they didn't, that sucks. I mean, they walked directly into an ambush because they thought they had the upper hand.
Yeah,
whereas
absolutely.
Apparently this has happened in other silos, and this is to be expected when somebody doesn't clean, which is wild. It's a hell of a leap, a hell of an assumption, but damn if they're not spot on. It's crazy how
it's what I assume that you're on the same page as me, and it's what we're assuming happened in silo. I forgot which number 17. It is. 17. Like we assume that's probably what happened was somebody didn't clean, and everybody went. Fuck it, let's get out of here. And obviously they tried to get out and then decided to try to get back in.
Yeah.
So like it makes sense that they're going to be needing to prepare for war, that they know this sort of thing is coming. Yeah. I want to go back just a little bit and talk about the implements of harm that we had talked about earlier, because we just got to that section in the book here.
Yeah, I've got a note here as well.
I'm just going to read the whole paragraph because I think it's really well written, even though I really only mentioned the last part. But
yeah.
Those without guns had armed themselves with fearsome shanks of flattened iron, the edges bright silver from the shrill work of the grinder. It was amazing to Knox that they all knew instinctively how to build implements of pain. It was something even shadows knew how to do at young ages. Knowledge somehow dredged up from the brutal depths of their imagination, this ability to deal harm to one another. And it's such a interesting concept that we just know how to hurt one another instinctively.
It's
terrible. I know we talked
terrible.
about this earlier, but like, oh man, it's not wrong. It's not wrong at all.
No, it's absolutely right.
It's crazy, but absolutely terrifying that is how humans have evolved. Like, that's honestly how humans have survived, is through implements of pain.
It's baked into us.
Whether it's killing each other or animals, and just like knowing, like creating tools. Some of the earliest tools that were created were weapons. So like, damn, but still pretty heavy.
Yeah, very, very, very heavy. I definitely took note. And you think, to expand on that a little bit, like, I have a son. He's grown now, and you have two boys.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me they don't have, or haven't had at some point, an obsession with guns and swords and knives and combat of some kind.
Not so much guns, but like, you know, they made their own lightsabers. It was out of paper and flashlights, but you know, like the idea of like these weapons as being fun things to swing around at each other, definitely something that like this in like internal and like instinctual fascination. I mean, maybe not necessarily instinctual. Maybe it comes from like the media that they are exposed to.
Totally.
Like they made their own lightsabers, like in the middle of watching Star Wars. You know, we paused it and built lightsabers, and it was fun. But
that's a great sudden craft. I love that.
Right, it was. They just like put marker to white paper and then taped it around the end of a flashlight and turned it on, and it glowed that color. So like one of them had red, one of them had green. It was really cute. I've got a photo of it as a favorite that comes up on my TV in the slideshow all the time, and I love seeing it.
That's amazing. I love that.
We had to like pause with like Vader and Luke with their lightsabers out in the background, and then my kids like mimicking the pose right in front of the TV. It's really adorable.
Oh, that's so good. I love that.
But yeah, to answer that question, there's absolutely like a fascination with like implements of pain, as it were. Like maybe they're not doing it to hurt each other, but they're fighting, and it's something that they've always done. And then on top of that, like, I mean, they're kids. They've hurt each other intentionally when they get angry or frustrated. That's just like an instinct that we have to teach out of them. Like, you know, teach them not to be that way versus teaching them to be that way. I feel like having a violent reaction when you're angry is more instinctual, and it's something that we have to kind of evolve out of and learn not to be to have a civilized society. If we let ourselves just like go on our gut instincts, our animal instincts, then there'd be all out blood everywhere. When every time like you get cut off and like road rage, pull out a gun or whatever, or crash your car into them, or stupid shit like that.
Yeah, unfortunately, anger is the default, and violence is a byproduct of anger, typically. If it's not, as you said, trained out, or society works toward that eventuality.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely underlined that as well, because the implementations of pain, or implements of pain line, really stood out to me. And it's we could talk about that for forever, I'm sure, because there's so much to unpack there. But moving back into the book, we're moving up the silo. Mm-hmm. The Black Hats have begun. And one of Peter's lines here that I really liked. Knox, our plan is to be heard, Knox said, which means making some noise. Peter patted his boss on the arm. Well, then, we're already winning. I like this guy. He's kind of a smart ass. I dig him.
Right.
But they're moving upward. Knox expresses his fear that he is leading his people to slaughter, which unfortunately is a very well-founded fear.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking about on the next page. I really thought it was kind of impactful when he's talking about the guns, and once guns are made, who unmakes them? Once they exist, nobody intentionally goes and unmakes a gun. They keep it. It becomes part of the world. And that is so true. Once you make an implement of pain, as we're talking about. It exists, and it will be used, and it's a terrible, terrible thing. And I love that Knox is so conscious of this fact. It's sad and awful, but he's so well aware of human nature. And I really appreciate him as a character. And I'm really, really bummed that we're assuming he died. I don't see how he didn't, honestly.
I think that's such a good point to make about not unmaking the guns. It's the same thing like, when we created the nuclear bomb.
Yep, exactly.
Like that's in the world now. That can't be undone. We can't say, oops, never mind. Like, oops, it's out there.
Just kidding.
And there's not really a way to stop that from being out there.
Yeah. We're living on the precipice of one of those with AI.
Yeah.
And people keep pushing it forward, and there's going to be a point where we've pushed too far, and you cannot take that back. It's like saying something. You can't unsay something unless it's recorded and you're an editor.
Well, once it's out in the world, though, it's out in the world.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, that's like, nuclear power versus nuclear bombs. It's something that, or social media, something that can be used as a tool or as a weapon. And it's just how we decide to use it. And AI is one of those things that right now it's in such its infancy. It's growing rapidly.
It's the worst it's ever going to be at this point.
In quality, yeah. But worst it's going to, it's going to be.
Oh yeah, no. In
the
quality,
way it affects the world,
absolutely.
Definitely not.
No, God, no. It's at it, like you said, in its infancy.
Like, I think that it's going to affect the world in so many ways, and we have no idea how that's going to affect us just yet.
Nope.
Like, we can imagine, but we don't know. Is it going to be something that wipes us out Terminator 2 style, or is it going to be something that makes us living in a utopia where it takes over all of the manual labor and all of the jobs, and we don't have to do shit, and we somehow find a way to supply food and life for everybody, so you don't have to work and you can live your life and be happy and excited because AI is just doing all the hard work for us.
Were there no greed, I think that would be a possibility.
Yeah, I think tool of destruction is more likely, though.
Oh, very much more likely. Humans have a tendency. I think the vast majority of humans are good, and they want to use it for informational purposes, and they want to use it to create stupid memes and videos and songs and shit, and just have fun with the technology that exists. But there's always going to be this sinister, devious, detached subset of humanity that wants to push it and watch the world burn. And it's typically for their own greedy gain.
Yeah.
And it's sad that is, unfortunately, even if it is a small subset of humanity, it's enough to push it. It's enough to push it to that next level, and not, sorry, my dog keeps barking, so I'm trying to pause between the barks. and not let the more docile and peaceful side of humanity prevail, because unfortunately the peaceful is always going to be overrun by the warmongering, because the peaceful is by nature peaceful. That is the sad truth of humanity and any other species, really. The docile, the complacent are always just pushed out. It's sad.
As you kind of touched on, I think that greed is really what propagates all of this. I mean, there's the fear 100%. Of the other is a big proponent in war and violence, but I think these days it's more based on greed than fear of the other, because greed is the desire to have more, and the way you have more is by taking it from other people, and violence is often the way that happens. So this is very much a tangent and not really related.
Oh, but sure.
If you could get rid of greed in the world, would you do that?
Absolutely. If I had that capability, 100% I would eliminate greed, because even as you said, the fear of the other is greed driven. It's, I want to keep what I've earned. I want to keep my things. So I'm afraid of them coming and taking them.
Exactly. They're going to take what I have. They're going to ruin what I have. And that's really where that fear comes from.
It is the root. I know money is the root of all evil, but by extension, that's greed. 100% greed. So if I could eliminate it, fucking A, 100%. I wouldn't hesitate.
Yeah, absolutely. Because why do you want money other than being greedy? I mean, other than living and, Like there's that, I don't know exactly the number these days, and I know that it changes based on, inflation and such. But I heard at one point in time that, if the amount of money one would need to make where more money doesn't provide more happiness was around 70,000 a year. Now that's probably low these days because we've had massive inflation recently. It's probably, 80, 90,000. I don't know, whatever the number is. But the idea is that there's this number that once all of your basic needs are met, you have the ability to go on vacation and get the things that you need to live. More money doesn't bring more happiness. It does up until that point, but not beyond that. And up until that point is just survival. But any money one wants beyond that is greed. And it's just one of those things I don't understand the greed mindset myself.
I don't know that I would entirely classify it like that if I were to put in my 2 cents. Because you've got your needs taken care of. And to want more than that, I don't think that that's necessarily greed. If you want more than that and you go for it and you know that it's going to hurt others, I think that's where the line gets crossed. If I could continue working, earn 200, 300, 400K a year, each bump would certainly make me more comfortable. But if that was at the expense of another person, I think that's when the greed really, really takes hold. Because you have to get to a point where you say, I want that and I don't care who it hurts. I don't care if it's taking money out of this person's pocket.
I think there's an unknown though. Like people don't acknowledge who's getting hurt by that. Like somebody making $500,000 a year doesn't need to be making $500,000 a year no matter fucking what. I don't care what argument they have. They don't need to be making that much money. It's just totally unnecessary.
And I do agree with that. Yes.
Like you might think, oh, I'm worth it because of what I bring to the table. It's like, okay, cool, you're worth it, but you don't need any more than $200,000 a year. I don't care who you are. And like would I take more than $200,000 a year? I mean, probably. But I think that what we need to acknowledge is that no matter what, that's at somebody else's expense. Whether it's like, an actor getting paid millions of dollars for their movie. Well, in order for them to get paid that means the people below them don't get paid as much.
We could probably talk about this for quite a while because I don't know that I completely agree with what you're saying. There is certainly an element of it that I agree with, but I think that like my job, for example, I make decent money. Certainly not the kind of figures that we're talking about, but I have worked hard for it. And to my knowledge, because of my job, I'm actually creating jobs for other people. I'm a marketer. I send out communications to people so that they purchase a product. And, I contribute to the capitalism of it all because, there's no other way to make a living these days. Yeah. So the fact that I'm there and I'm actually creating more revenue for a company that has hired me, they have given me money to create more revenue for them. Now, to me, I am doing a service to help other people get their jobs and maintain their jobs and maintain their lifestyles and yada, yada, et cetera, et cetera. What that company does, and I'm not going to say who the company is because it's a very well-known company and it's, you know what? Fuck that. I'm going to cut all this part out. But so the company in question, on the other hand, may do some evil.
Yeah.
There's probably a hierarchy that is absolutely skewed.
So yeah, this is definitely probably not going to be included, but I'm just going to my thoughts on this anyway. There are people I used to drive Uber. You know this. I had somebody in my car once that she was having a conversation with the guy and she was talking about what they do and she was kind of justifying it. And then I find out she works for Juul, right? And
like the artist?
No, wrong Juul.
Oh.
Juul.
Like the cigarette. Okay, got it.
Yeah. And in my mind, I'm thinking you're contributing towards, lung cancer and addiction and people's lives getting fucked up because of the tobacco and nicotine that they are ingesting in their bodies. Yep. And she's just so casual about it. It's not a big deal. Oh, it's not my problem. I'm not the one, whatever. I forget exactly what the conversation was. It was many years ago, but there was this distinct feeling I had of this disconnection of like, I'm just one person. I'm just doing my job. I'm not really the one that's causing all of this. It's somebody else. But if you break down a company, every fucking single person in that company feels the same way. Like,
of course,
they're all part of it. They're all contributing towards what that company does. And if the company is doing what the rest of us may consider evil to the world, like everybody in that company who might think, oh, I'm not evil, I'm just doing my job, is still fucking part of it. And so
it's
I think that like
I'm
when
just
you're
following
contributing,
orders.
exactly. And it's so easy for people to disconnect themselves from that. Like when we think of stuff like, again, way off topic, and you probably won't use any of this, but when we think of stuff like maybe this is just practice for the podcast that we'll end up doing. But we think of like Citizens United, right? And how like it gives corporations a voice in policymaking. We think of it like this evil corporation and it's just this intangible thing. But the reality is that corporation is made up of people, of every single person that is helping dictate the policy, that is dictating what they want to be done. It's not a company, it's all of the people in the company. And I think that we as a society forget about that a lot. And
it's
we don't
the whole
necessarily
forest for the
hold
trees.
everybody in there. Exactly. We don't think of everybody in there as culpable when we probably should. But anyway,
100%.
Let's get back on topic. We've gotten way off
real
topic.
Quick, just to defend my position.
Sure.
I work for healthcare. While we have a fucked up healthcare situation in this country, at least what I'm doing is not like Juul and making the problem worse. At least
feeding the I was gonna say
my
problems,
industry.
But like your industry is not feeding the problem. It's potentially helping find
it's
solutions.
a contributor to a problem, sure. The healthcare situation in the US is absolutely ass backwards, but it's not one of the ones actually driving the bus, fortunately. I've very carefully chosen my career to try to be as harmless as possible.
That's good.
But yeah, getting back to the book.
I'd love to talk to you about that more personally later. I'm curious more about what you do and stuff, but we'll do that off the call.
100%. Man, I'd be happy to. But yeah, so this chapter is starting to wrap up, and it's about Knox just kind of dealing with the situation of what's coming mentally and emotionally, and he's not doing it wonderfully well. It'd be really difficult because he feels like he's leading these people to their deaths, and he's talking about the previous not incursions. What are they? Uprisings. The previous uprisings.
This was it, an uprising, just like the fables of their youth, and Knox suddenly felt dire kinship with those old ghosts, those ancestors of myth and lore. Men and women had done this before, maybe for different reasons, with a less noble anger caught in their throats, but somewhen, on some level, there had been a march like this, similar boots on the same treads. Maybe even some of the same boots, but with new souls.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't highlight that part, but I loved it, so I had to include that.
Yeah. God, that's tough. And that goes back to our question. Are we the good guys? Like he's seriously contemplating like all these people I assume to be the bad guys. And now I'm literally in their boots, potentially physically in their boots, doing the exact same thing. And it's a wild thing to grapple with mentally.
I also think it was really interesting how he kind of puts together, he's like, if someone lived as long as Jan's or McLean, that 3 long lives could span the distance from them in the last uprising. And I think about that even with like our times, like the American Revolution was probably only like 4 long lifetimes ago. You could shake hands. The people between that could shake hands and have 4 lifetimes worth. Now it's not necessarily generations because generations overlap so much, but like that's pretty crazy to think that like something that we think of as so far in the past, so like deep historical, like fixed point in time like this is this thing that happened that influenced everything wasn't all that long ago in the grand scheme of things, which
not at
kind
all.
of gives me hope that we can have a revolution, hopefully bloodless, maybe not, to fix the current problems, because even though everything's grown to where it has, to where like this nation is so big, there's so many people, it's a lot harder, I think, to have that sort of thing. But it gives me hope that maybe we can, because it wasn't all that long ago and it was done before. And we see it in other countries.
And there are a
like
lot
other
more
countries
of us
have
now.
their uprisings.
A lot more of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
But rolling into chapter 50. This is a Jules and Solo chapter. And there is so much information in this chapter.
Absolutely.
Speaking of information, right out the gate, we find out about the book. And she said there was more to marvel in their text-heavy pages than in any of the children's books of her youth, which obviously in a single dictionary is going to have more than these put together. And it's interesting to me that there's Solo mentions that everything's out of order. It's more like a backup to the backup. And I was thinking about that. It's like, that would be like, I would be concerned about, considering the state of it, I'd be wondering about its accuracy. You know, I deal with databases every day, and the biggest plague to my job is inaccuracies in databases because of merging, splitting, reformatting, information gathering, and to have that kind of database out of order, I guarantee things are wrong. Things are messed up. Things are missing.
Well,
and they would never know.
I think when he's saying things are out of order, I think he's just talking about like on the shelves. I think he's talking about like him going through it all and then putting it back and not necessarily putting it back in order. But if he is talking about the data itself, I bet you he's talking about like timeline wise, because it's probably more like an encyclopedia, which is more alphabetical than it is timeline.
Okay, well, that could be, but his backup of a backup, that makes me feel like it's been gathered and then regathered and then regathered and then regathered, and that feels like corrupted data to me.
I mean, what we know that this is supposed to be a seed, right? That's what we talked about in the last Solo chapter, about how the silo is a seed, or the humanity is a seed for presumably repopulating the earth once the problem is gone.
When things are good again.
Granted, we know it has to be something other than a nuclear war, because, 300 plus years and it would be safe outside, and it's still not. Right. But like, for whatever it is, they're going to reseed the world. I think the idea is that they put all of human knowledge in in each silo, and like the servers hold that digitally. And then these books are just like the backup in case the servers die of that data to be put back in manually if the need arises. Now, we do know that Bernard was talking about putting the data back in. So it could be what you're saying, like, potential for mistakes of transposing that information. And I guess that's a strong possibility that the data on the servers could be wrong because of that. But I think the idea is that at least where Solo is, where Juliet is right now, this information is the hard copy, isn't going to be changed, is going to be what it was. It's like us just taking all of our encyclopedias and all of our research papers and plopping them into this room.
Yeah, it just feels like there's going to be a lot of error in the calibration, recalibration, loading, unloading.
Potentially.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah. I mean, but the reality is if they do reseed the earth and this is the information they have, it's a good start, right? It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't 100%. Need to be everything.
I'm not saying they shouldn't have it.
Especially science related stuff. It's going to be like, oh, here's the information. Oh, we find that didn't work. We're going to do the research and figure out what we need to be doing. And then it's going to be fixed.
Yeah. What are we missing? Yeah.
This great Ricky Gervais quote. I mean, I don't know that he came up with it originally, but he's the one I heard say it.
Oh,
and he was having a conversation with Stephen Colbert about God and belief and stuff like that. He's like, if you get rid of every book, every, bit of information in the world, in 1,000 years, all of the science books, they're going to be recreated exactly the same because science doesn't change. But all of the religious texts will be completely different. And I think that's really a fascinating concept, but it applies here in the sense that like anything that they have that may be wrong, they'll figure out. I don't think any of it's going to be a problem. Sure. I think like the data is it's just the data. It's just what they have.
I think the only thing that they'll miss out on are like historical events. I think that's the only thing that would be kind of messy, because you're absolutely right. And Gervais said it perfectly. In 1,000 years, they will be recreated. We will discover the same exact things, because it's the laws of nature. It's physics. It's everything that this world encapsulates. It's not something that somebody made up at some point. So there will be a recreation of data no matter what. As far as that's concerned, it's the social and scientific things that would be lost.
Yeah, and the art.
Some of those things are okay to lose.
Yeah, the writing, the books, the art, like all of that would be potentially gone. I don't even know if they necessarily backed any of that up, especially since they're keeping it from the people of the silo.
See, and I was curious about that as well.
Stuff was gotten rid of. Yeah, I don't know.
Like, do they have pictures of the Sistine Chapel? Do they have things that are like iconic in our lives? Need pictures of the Stonehenge or the pyramids or something like that. I mean, I would guess the pyramids are probably still there.
Stonehenge is a really interesting one because we don't fully know everything about that. I mean, I know there's a lot of information out there, and people that know this stuff know it a lot better than I, but we don't fully know what that was built for. But that's because we've had to piece things together. So would a future society who's been living in silos for the past centuries, and what of our stuff, if we don't have documentation on it, are they going to be like, what the hell was this for? Why did they have this?
Who's this
what
guy?
Survives, of what sticks around. Yeah, statues or buildings or, weird shit that are like, why did they do this? Random monoliths in the desert that people put up just as an art project. People in the future are going to be like, what did this mean? What were they doing? Was this a ritualistic thing or whatever? I think it'd be really fascinating and interesting to kind of see that.
Yeah, think about the Bean in Chicago or the Seven Magic Mountains in Vegas, or there are so many bizarre things that might survive the test of time. I'd love to see some future society try to figure out what the hell it is.
Yeah.
But moving on in the book here, I want to point out something very interesting here. We've got Solo. He's over here heating up soup, right? Mm-hmm. Take note, nowhere in this chapter does Juliet eat it.
Apparently she doesn't eat warm soup, just cold.
Absolutely not. Must be cold. I'm telling you, there's a theme here.
Though?
I don't. Stuck it back in and stirred.
Maybe it was earlier when they first got in. He offered her beans or something like that.
Yeah, beans. He does offer her beans, and she eats it. But yeah, I don't
reluctantly. I think
I don't think she eats the soup. I was looking and I'm not seeing anywhere.
No, I agree with you. I don't think she does. Oh no, he set bowls down and adjusted a knob on the stove.
He tastes it and puts the spoon back in, so that's one reason not to eat.
So the other reason is too hot. He was going to give her some at least. I don't know if he ever does.
Yeah, I don't think
that's funny. Might get distracted into other stuff before they get there. Oh yeah, he goes to the maps afterwards that show her the silos.
Yeah. So they totally get distracted and it gets cold again, I'm sure. So then she can eat it. I also wanted to point out on this page, I really appreciated I'm just going to read it out because I thought it was fucking hilarious. She looked down at her lap where pictures of the animal called butterflies filled the pages. Their wings were comically bright. She wondered if they were the size of her hand or the size of people. She had yet to find any scale for the beasts. I thought that was fantastic.
I love it. Yeah, because if you just have a butterfly, not on a piece of grass or a stick or anything like that, just the butterfly itself, and you have no idea.
Even if it were on a leaf or something like that.
Yeah. You might not know what a leaf is. Yeah.
She has no scale for what that leaf is. Is that a massive leaf? Is that a 10-foot leaf? Who knows? All I know is what's in the dirt farms, which are obviously small.
She's seen the dirt farms, right? So she's seen leaves. She knows what leaves are, even if she doesn't see it from a tree. So she'd probably know that. I bet you it's just the butterfly with a white background, right? Just
But imagine.
No context.
She's never seen a tree. She's never seen a jungle tree, which do have massive leaves. So
True,
even if you've seen a small leaf, you can't necessarily compare that to anything else because she doesn't know what size outside plants got. These could be very small plants.
Can you imagine a butterfly the size of a man? Just how it'd be
terrifying.
Crazy. Yeah, right? This beautiful, colorful thing. And it's just like a Mothra.
Yeah, I guess that essentially is what Mothra is, just a giant butterfly with no color. Oh, boy. So we're moving on in the chapter. She's talking about how she thinks that Solo's life must be kind of empty, being alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what she says is he's got all this information and he's got all the information he could ever want, but he doesn't have any social construct. And she's kind of judging him. But then she thinks about it. It's like, wait, this man has so much more knowledge than I do. Who am I? Just because I have friends, I've spoken to people, who am I to think that I'm better off or a better person? And I thought that was a really interesting way to look at the social construct and
Absolutely
what that provides humanity.
And like to reflect that back on society, like there are people who live that way, who are perfectly content being, socially isolated. And, many of us might judge them and think, well, you need to have friends. You need to get out there and talk to people. But it's either too scary for them or just not something that they're interested in. And that doesn't necessarily mean that their lives are any less rich. Doesn't mean that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There's any, less enjoyment in their lives from what they are experiencing and doing, especially with the internet, and having that access to information and media and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, my life is probably mostly like that when I don't have my kids, and then I get to do wonderful stuff like this every once in a while. But like when I don't have my kids, like a week at a time, I basically just watch movies and play video games and barely interact with the outside world. And that's just kind of my life. But
my wife has to drag me outside the house sometimes because I work from home. I don't want to leave. I like it.
Well, I mean, yeah. Granted, I would like to get out of the house more often, and I would like to socialize more often, but not having money definitely puts a damper on that.
Oh yeah.
But
absolutely.
That's a different story. But yeah, that's definitely interesting, and I do like that she recognizes that he is a wealth of information that she doesn't. He knows things that she wouldn't have any idea about.
Yeah, there's actually a line, it might be a couple chapters ahead, might be in the last chapter that we're reading here. He gives her some information. It was kind of offhand, but it was like vital information. I don't remember exactly what it was, but she's frustrated because she's like, well, how much information, like vital information, does this dude have that he thinks is just frivolous? Like he's whatever. Right. That's there are 50 silos. Come on, obviously. It's really funny because he's so used to being alone and having all this information. Doesn't everybody know this stuff? And he's socially awkward and he's borderline crazy. And I get it.
Which, speaking of, how do you picture him? Like, do you have any actors or people in mind that you think of when you read Solo?
No, not necessarily an actor I had in mind, but were I to cast him, you'd need somebody that's got some really has the capability of doing like really crazy eyes. And I'm not talking like Steve Buscemi or anything like that. Like, actually, who'd be really good is Cillian Murphy. He's got those really vibrant eyes and he's such a good actor that he could probably pull off crazy really, really well.
He's a fantastic actor. He's really, really good, but I don't really see him as this kind of role. Because remember, one of the things she described him as, he's still the 16-year-old, but in a man's body. And so having somebody that can pull off that like 16-year-old in an old man's body,
I think he could do it.
I think they actually cast the perfect person in the show.
Who did they cast?
Want to know who it is?
I do. Yeah.
Steve Zahn.
Oh, that's interesting.
He's hilarious. He's like silly, and he plays the 50-year-old child really well. And
I mean, he kind of is.
Yeah, right. And he has the acting chops to pull off the seriousness of it.
Interesting. That's an interesting choice.
It was a perfect casting because even though I didn't have, as I talked about before, I don't really have a tangible image of a character when I'm reading until something makes it tangible. And when I read this originally, I didn't have an idea of who he was. But once I saw the show, going back and reading it, it's like, no, that's perfect. That's exactly how I would have pictured this character.
Interesting. I think that's a really good casting choice.
Absolutely.
Having not even seen it.
The character. Yeah, I'm really happy.
Although I do want to back up my choice for Cillian Murphy. Put a beard on him, make him scraggly. Those eyes, he could do crazy. He could do crazy really well, I think.
I mean, yeah, he probably could do crazy, but I think that like those bright blue eyes are more like soulful and like just deep, like those beautiful eyes that he has. I think that I don't know that he would play that scared little boy as well. Maybe. I mean,
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see the effort. He's one of my all-time favorite actors. So he's going to be fantastic. In future questions, if you ever ask me another, I'll probably put him up for other roles because he's one of my favorites. So, totally I may be a little biased.
Who do you think should play? Oh, Cillian Murphy. Oh, listen,
Cillian. Yeah, don't worry about it. You know what? He could play both parts. Don't even fret.
Just make that role twins. It's fine.
It's fine.
I agree. He's fantastic, and he's already done the end of the world with like 28 Days Later and that Lost wandering around trying to figure out. And I think he did a fantastic job in that. And,
loved it. Yeah.
But I think that Steve Zahn was perfect for this role, and I'm really glad they cast him.
Oh, that's a solid casting choice. That's fantastic.
And like Solo is such he's so excited, right? He's got like that ADHD energy in this he's unsocialized. Yeah. And he just like is so excited to like data dump, right? Info dump is the term I guess I was looking for. He's so excited to info dump and talk to people, and like it feels so much like that guy. I think that the guy who, I don't know the actor's name, but in The Mummy, the kind of like squirrely guy that goes on the mission with them.
Jonathan. Yeah.
No, not Jonathan. Jonathan is good too, but I'm talking about like the
Benny. You're talking Benny.
Benny, yes. Benny. The guy who plays Benny, I think, could also play Solo really well.
Dude, he has one of my favorite interactions with O'Donnell, Rick O'Donnell, Brendan Fraser's character. What is it? Hey Rick, guess who's on the wrong side of the river? Hey Benny, guess who's got all the horses, or something to that effect. It's an exchange. It might be reversed, but it's so funny to me the way that he reacts to it. I think that he would actually be a really good choice as well. Very strange dude. God, I love that movie. I have to watch that again.
I need to show my kids. I think that they'd enjoy it. I've been holding off because I was afraid that it would be too scary for them.
Sure.
But I think they can handle it these days. Like they're old enough. They're like almost Julian's about to be 13 in like less than a month. In 2 weeks, Julian's going to be 13. So
that's
you're probably feeling the same way I was when you said that your son was 18. Like just holy shit, where'd the time go? Right?
It happens quick, man. I was
also realizing we've probably known each other for almost 20 years at this point, if not 20 years. Like I know we didn't figure out exactly the year we met, but it's got to be close. I've been in Vermont for 17 years now.
Ambrose was baking in the oven, so he's 18 now. So I'd say probably 19 years. Yeah.
Well, as we say, we met before she was pregnant. So
between 19 and 20 years.
Yeah. Right. It's got to be somewhere around there.
Yep. Checks out.
But that's crazy. Anyway.
Yeah. Diving back in. Solo has quite a stink about him, which you would. I mean, not being alone, you would not be as hygienic as one
doesn't have any
somebody
water
else
pressure.
to impress with. No water pressure, nothing.
He can't shower.
Oh God, that is disgusting. So he goes from apartment to apartment and poops and just leaves it. That is, I think we already covered that. So we'll move right on past that. It's awful.
How many apartments are there? And he's 50 years old. Like how long? Has he gotten through all the apartments at this point? Like he's probably
because he says he goes in one until he can't stand it anymore.
And can't stand the smell anymore. And goes to the next one, right? But like, how many apartments are there? There's a limited number of apartments. And he'd have to travel to like the higher dormitories if he's gonna, go do his business elsewhere. And you're not gonna travel up like 6 floors, actually probably more like 40 floors. You're not gonna travel like 40 floors to go take a dump. So
if you're smart, you start as far away from yourself as you can. So when emergencies happen, you can go closer.
Yeah, but I doubt he did that.
I doubt so as well. 16-year-old boy would not have that kind of wherewithal to do so prior to a problem.
And then he would have come up with a wisdom to do that after it was too late.
Yes, absolutely. He probably moved to another location so that he could start over.
Yeah.
But it does make me think there are piles of trash and, rotting food and really disgusting.
Said so, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a disgusting environment. And it made me think,
Like the thousands of empty cans of food smelled like 10,000.
yeah, it made me think what kind of processes must be in like Juliet's silo or this one before it was considered dead that maintain that sort of thing. We didn't see any like reclamation or anything like that with the exception of the water. And like, how do they recycle cans? Do they, they wash them out and then repack them with something else? I would assume.
I would absolutely assume that they do all that. Like they very likely have a whole system for all of this where like there's probably floors that we just haven't heard about because they haven't needed to mention them that do this sort of stuff. They probably have a whole reprocessing floor that like recycles everything. Like anything that can be recycled. That
would be my assumption as well. Yeah. Just interesting. Something I hadn't really considered on our first run through with within the silo. We got food, we got water, we got, a lot of the basics, the oil, the generator, all the basics to make things work. But you kind of forget about the sanitation end of things, the output that humans have. It's something that needs to be considered. It just hadn't really occurred to me until that point. And there'd have to be a hell of a lot of preparation for that kind of thing and handling.
Yeah, probably an entire industry doing it. Probably like multiple floors because you probably can't like send everything all the way down to where, you'd process it down at the bottom. They probably have multiple levels of doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Yeah, just like it has to get disgusting. Especially not having that in place. But moving on, he finally shows Jules the map, the outside map. So her mind is blown. Her being a mechanically minded person, she looks at this map and thinks there are no straight lines anywhere, which I thought was adorable. And it reminded me of the movie Arrival with Jeremy Renner and Amy Adams, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure if those are the actors. I think so, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a line in that movie where they see something that is coming out of the earth or out of space or something. I don't recall exactly how it happens, but Jeremy Renner says God doesn't paint in straight lines. And I thought it was a really clever line in that movie. And it just, I snapped back to it when I read that. I'm like, that is kind of cool that she thinks in perfectly straight lines because that is who she is. Even a bolt has 6 straight sides.
Yeah.
Everything she deals with is cut clean corners.
It's
paper.
organized, it's planned, it's set up in a way that makes sense. And then she sees this map of the outside world with rivers and mountains.
It's just a blob of
like, it's just like everything's all intertwined. And if it shows the roads that were there, like none of them are straight unless it's like in the middle of a city center, right? It's all curving around the mountains and the landscape. And it's interesting concept to see that when all the schematics you've looked at have been like clean, like even curves and connected and
intentional.
Intentional. That's a great way of putting it. Yeah, of course.
She's looking at the map and the more she talks to Solo, I think it's really funny. She's kind of dreading the next however many years of her life. She's like, the thrill of survival was in danger of being replaced by the depression of a long, miserable existence. Like, damn. Yeah. Like, poor Solo. Like, I get it. But, that poor man. He's just excited. Give him a chance.
Yeah.
But this is where we find out that there are approximately 50 silos. Because she sees the grid and it's wild. That there are this many. I mean, I know we've already kind of discussed it. Yeah, 4 dozen or so. So approximately 50, give or take. And she is understandably kind of blown away by this, thinking of 50. She thought her silo was the universe, and now there are 50 identical. Not to mention this expansive world that she just got a picture of. Like, can you imagine the way that would make you feel? How small that would make you feel? Like, you thought that
I can imagine that. Absolutely. Because like staring up at the stars, realizing how small we are in the entire universe, I can absolutely like empathize for that feeling of believing this is your universe and then just having it blow up and know there is so much more out there. Can you imagine like the curiosity and excitement there would be? Like right now,
for sure,
she's focused on getting back to her silo. Like she finds out that he can call silo 1, so she doesn't have time to really process all of this. But like the excitement and curiosity that must be like a seed now planted in her head about like what's out there,
what can
there? We see?
Yeah.
What can we learn?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a crazy thought because she thought her entire universe existed in this one, sizable silo, but it is a single container that is not only replicated 50 times at least, but I mean, not to mention it's just mind blowing. It must be so difficult to grapple with that kind of realization and discovery.
Yeah, and he says that like the area of the silos can fit like under a thumbprint. So like I don't know how much area they're showing on the map. Like, is it just like Georgia, or is it just like the Atlanta metro area? Is it more like all the United States? I don't know. But we know that the map is huge because he's physically having her help him hold it up. And if like your thumb covers just the silos there, like to have her see that the sense of scale of how much is out there, and that's not even the entire world, presumably.
Yeah. So crazy.
Yeah, and she doesn't know that yet. So like, and
I know.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
So we find out that this is silo 17, which means that either Jules' silo is either 16 or 18, which is what he says. And he apparently heard from silo 1 when their silo was under attack or was basically under the same situation that her silo currently is. And they reached out saying, what's going on? It was a very short conversation. They weren't happy. And they just considered the silo dead after that, which is mind boggling to me. Like, yes, there's someone that shouldn't be in the secret hidey hole room, but that is in relation to the shadow of that silo. And you just count that as dead. I mean, that's wild. What if they figured it out? What if they rebalanced?
Yeah.
And
I have a feeling there's probably more to it than what we know of that call.
Probably.
Like this is just his interpretation, but there was probably more conversation like with their Bernard and Silo 1 before all of this. Like they probably knew something was coming. Like they probably knew there was a failed cleaning, and this is probably just confirmation of the end. And we don't know what happens when they assume that it's dead. Like, do they do something that helps facilitate future, like, making sure it's dead? Do they like open the doors remotely? Do they like, what do they do in that situation?
It doesn't seem like they do anything.
I don't know.
Like they just leave it. Like you're dead to us.
Like, if they just cross it out. I don't think it's like they just cross it out and move on, and they just another one down. But so I don't think it really matters too much, because like if the silo didn't truly die,
but it totally does.
Their Bernard would end up getting on the call and being like, nope, we're still good. Fair. And like, report back. So.
But to just write off everybody in that silo, we're expecting 1,000 to 2,000 people in each of these, right? So we're talking about 100,000 people, 50,000 to 100,000 people.
Yeah.
So if you count a silo as dead, Solo is the only one to have survived in this silo that we're aware of. The other silos that have been counted as dead, just written off, those could have groups of survivors, up to hundreds of people.
They could.
They could still be functioning at a reasonable level and completely disconnected because their Bernard is dead and nobody knows about the damn hidey hole.
Right.
Like they could have an entire society in one of these silos and nobody knows how to get into that. Nobody knows it exists. So it's just to just mark it off and have there may be other ways of communication. There may be ways to tell that other silos are active if they're using a certain amount of power, blah, 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 blah. Of course, we don't know everything. So there's always a possibility that I'm speculating too much here, but it's wild to me to think that people could very easily be surviving in these quote unquote dead silos. And there could be a very large contingency of these people if a revolution, for example, were to happen in the future. If they were to somehow communicate with each other, if Juliet, for example, is to start reaching out to dead silos, just see what happens. I mean, she could make herself her own little army, and it's kind of exciting to think about. There's a lot of prospect there, and I want to know what happens.
One thing I find really interesting, I just kind of looked down at the chapter and I saw this, and it made me, think about this as a relation to what you're saying. He's saying that they don't get their own power anymore. They borrow it from others, and it's all automatic. Like if it's automatic, but the silo's dead, why would that kick in? Like why would they still feed power to it unless
I was so curious about that.
Is okay, all the people are dead, but we still want the servers to be powered on in case all the other servers die. So we have a backup information. Could be like, that hard backup of backup of the backup of the backup.
Oh, that's an interesting thought. Maybe that's exactly why. And he happens to be in the one place in the silo that you really could survive.
Yeah.
Because he does say that it's like a silo within a silo.
He has like the food resources. He's got power.
Yeah, this room is supposed to allow them to survive 10 years, I think it said.
I forget what the exact number was, but it was like way more because it was just him. Like,
yeah,
it's supposed to be
exactly.
like a certain amount of people or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty fascinating.
Oh,
I
exactly
was curious about
the
that
crucial
power as well.
things that you were talking about. It's the borrow the power from others. She's like, you get it from others. Juliet felt her frustration rise. How many crucial things did this man know that
Yes,
you considered
there it is.
trifling?
That's got to be so frustrating. Nope, I'm good.
Yeah, and then she's like, do you have a flying suit that can whisk me back to our silo?
So he tells her about the conversation and that you can actually talk to other silos, which she's pretty excited.
Yeah, she does get excited about that, but I don't know if it's before or after, but like she doesn't, yeah, the wires tracing back and calling, she definitely like takes note of, but then what she really gets excited about is when she discovers that there's a room off of mechanical that he said held the diggers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a really interesting thing that we just learned, that there are diggers down in a room off of mechanical. So the diggers they use to create these holes for the silos are still down there. She's asking if they work. She's thinking about the mines and how they probably could have helped excavate rock.
Oh, dude, she's going to dig over to her own silo.
Yeah, you think that's what she's going to do?
I do. Well, okay, so but he does say
Except
that. Okay, I wanted to.
He said there's flooding.
Yeah, it's flooded. Yes. Yeah.
So
see that I wanted to address as well. So I'm curious. I still think that somehow that's going to be the case. I don't know how, but if anyone can fix the pumps, if anyone can get that unflooded, yada yada, et cetera, guess who we've got on our hands.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty awesome. But I wanted to think about this flooding for a moment. Was this intentional? Was this part of preparing for war?
All of that's a possibility.
It
could be as simple as the pumps failed and there was nobody there to fix them. Sure. Or it could be this was intentional as like part of our uprising, as a way to whatever, to trigger things, to harm things, Oh yeah, it could have been a way to quell the uprising too, an attempt to stop the uprising, like, drowned everybody in mechanical to stop everything. I can see that too. Yeah. Honestly, I don't know.
That's my concern. I'm curious because there were 12 people left down in mechanical in silo 16 or 18, whichever one we're familiar with. And
Juliet's is 18, Solo's is 17.
Oh, does it say that? Because he's speculating it's either 16 or 18.
But, we figured it out because she talks about the direction she went and she only went over one hill.
Oh, yeah,
and it was pretty clear that it was 18. And then when they do call,
you're absolutely right.
Yeah, we know that she called the right one. Who knows? Maybe they called 16 first though, and they're like, nope, sorry, wrong number.
Maybe nobody here. Who is this? What's your operating number? We're all fine here. Anyway. Everything's good. Anyway, so upon this discovery that she can call, she's like, well, shit, I'm going to call my silo. And my note here is like, dude, she's totally going to reach out to Lucas. Like, and can you imagine? He's just got this shadow position. We're going to quote unquote the love of his life because he barely knew her. But regardless, he's all upset about her having left and potentially died. So the mind fuck for each of them, had this happen, it didn't. But had this happened, had she reached out to the silo and Lucas answered, can you imagine either of those positions? Number one, from her, why the fuck are you in the hidey hole? Like, what? That is not the person you should be talking to. Like that throws so many implications. Like, why are you in Bernard's pocket? From Lucas's, like, this gal that I am obsessed with is dead. Why is she talking to me?
Having her like come back to life suddenly like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that would have been such, I'm kind of disappointed that Hugh Howey didn't write that in. I wanted him to answer.
I guess you'll have to keep reading.
Oh shit. Well, okay, but the initial, no, I'm sure that they'll find out. And I'm sure that there's going to be this moment to an extent, but the initial communication was
she's trying to get
from
home,
Jules
right?
to
like
Bernard.
Eventually she's going to communicate. Either she's going to fail and then the book's over, or she's going to succeed in some way of communicating with or getting back to her silo. That's
considering there are two more books, I doubt. Yeah, of course. I doubt that she's staying there and we're going to read about her in solo for the rest of 2 books.
Unless, of course, Lucas dies before she reaches out. That's always a possibility with Hugh Howey's writing as well.
Yeah, that's very true. He's very wanton with his characters.
I will just say this much. I can't say much because I don't want to spoil it.
Okay, I appreciate that. But I was kind of disappointed that wasn't the initial communication, because I thought, but to Hugh Howey's writing's credit, was the communication perfect? Absolutely. And we'll get there.
And I also, I really appreciate the timeline, like right now in that chapter, the end of this chapter with her and Solo lines up with
battle.
I guess with the battle, yeah, because the battle happens and then they go back down into the hidey hole,
and he gets the call.
And so like this is happening while shit's going down. Like this next chapter we're about to jump into, what is it for you? Chapter 41,
51. 51, 21, or 20.
Math. So I guess it's plus 31 for me because I'm at 20.
That's ridiculous.
But yeah, so now we're on to chapter 51, and we're going straight into that wait as Lucas is sitting there with his gun, which, by the way, why the fuck was Lucas on the front lines if he's supposed to be this like guy to know everything in case something happens to Bernard? Like, what was Bernard thinking? Like, I don't like Bernard, and I think that he's a lot smarter than that, even if I don't like him. And he shouldn't have done that. Granted, we get at the end of the chapter when, Bernard thinks about it. He's like, I shouldn't have put you out there. I'm like,
yeah, he definitely realizes his mistake.
That, but
you don't put the president and the VP on the front line. Yeah.
Right.
I whether you're rooting for them or not, that is poor tactic. Terrible tactic.
Bernard's an idiot. I mean, he's not an idiot.
Yeah,
he's a really smart guy.
He's a smart idiot. But some of the smartest people I know have the least common sense. Well, yeah, absolutely.
That's fair.
Like,
that's fair.
Charlie, if you listen to this, I love you, but you're one of the dumbest smart people I know. It's
oh God.
I've told him this, so no stress. But he is a wealth of information. He's so smart, but the common sense is not always there. He blunders through things that you would step back and say, dude, you're smarter than this. But he just doesn't think of the little consequential things. I think
it comes down to like people with certain knowledge and obsession of knowledge or whatever it is are so focused on the things they do know and don't really have the brain space for other stuff.
Yeah.
Social communication, common sense, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And like Bernard, honestly, in this scenario, he's overwhelmed.
Yeah, totally. He's not made for war. He's not made to be the commander of a small battalion. It's not in him.
Yeah. He's head of IT. He's got, all of this uprising shit to worry about, making sure he keeps the silo from imploding in on itself. And like, he's not thinking everything through. And I can kind of forgive him for that. But I do think he's kind of an idiot there.
Moving on, we jump back in. We find out that Billings is, of course, the silo sheriff. Shocking. Nobody. They're waiting for the incursion, and I really appreciate this last line of this little section because this chapter bounces between Lucas and Knox, which are the two combatants that are come head to head in a moment. And he says, "Waiting, more waiting. They were all waiting. Of course, had Lucas known what was coming, he wouldn't have minded. He would have begged to wait there forever." Like, I can't imagine that's not how every soldier feels. Well, maybe not every, because I'm sure there are some that love the fight. But that anticipation, especially from someone that is not a militant or a combatant, typically, has got to be terrifying. Like, truly,
this guy who just wants to chart the stars, And the gun is put in his hand. He's told that he is going to be like essentially the head of the silo when Bernard dies, and like, fuck.
What a change.
Yeah.
His life from just a couple days ago, was 100% different. Entirely different.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him. I truly feel for Lucas, and I like him a lot as a character.
Absolutely.
So then we jump over to Knox and his ilk. They're heading up the stairs in the blackout. They come across a couple of farmers that are trying to get the power working for them to, I don't remember what they're trying to fix here.
They just need power. The power was turned off on their level, so they're trying to take the cables from the level above, which still had power, and bring it down.
Which was technically illegal. But he has to make the decision that he either tried to stop the man, which could cost time and noise, or he simply help, which could look suspicious. So what he decides to do is send off Shirley and Courtney to assist the guy. So what I wrote here, what I'm thinking happened, well, what I was thinking was going to happen was that they're being set aside for either a heroic entrance during this battle, a delayed heroic entrance, or everybody's going to get wiped out and they're going to be the only two surviving from this little contingency.
Yeah. When I read that, I was kind of thinking that Knox was being a little bit sexist here. And like, even though he knows these are very capable women, he specifically picked the women to stay behind, I think to save them. And like, I don't know how I feel about that, because part of me is like, well, no, everybody is in this together. And why, save the women? I mean, yeah, I guess they're child rearing, and maybe it's I don't know, a weird sense of chivalry in that, like, I'm going to go die and I'm going to let you stay behind, in like the olden days of like men went to war and women stayed home.
Right.
And I've never really understood that. It's like, no, the most capable people go to war and everybody else stays home. And like, so I felt a little awkward about that with him specifically picking the women out. However, and then of course the farmer then is like, I thought you were going to lend me two of your, and he cuts him off before he says best. And he's like, do you want the best I got? Because you've got it. So like part of me is like, okay, Knox, you're not that bad. You're acknowledging that the women are the best you've got. They're kick ass. You appreciate them. And maybe you're just trying to save them because you care about them. We know how he
felt about Jules as well.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
the women in his company are, I mean, they might be the best he's got. They are the sharpest. They are the most skilled. They can fit the most places. Like, they've got a lot of advantages. Quite honestly.
Absolutely.
But the farmer's obviously an asshat because he's the sexist one. Knox could be argued either way, whether he's telling the truth here with them being the best he's got or not. I don't know. But I felt the same way until he said that. I'm like, okay, he might be making an excuse. He might be sending them off because they're women and he wants to protect them. There's a very good possibility of that. But the fact that he says that, I'm willing to give the guy the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Especially because it's his last few breaths on this little plane. And
we might see hard evidence as we get to that, but I'm not sure. I just know that he was there and bombs are going off and there's a good chance he's dead.
We'll get to that point in a moment because it sounds like he's shot in the chest, like badly. So this is where he says anyone with eyes and ears could tell some kind of reckoning was coming. And obviously it is. Then it jumps back to Lucas. There was no warning for Lucas. He's got this waiting game. And then everything fucking explodes. As I'm sure that's exactly what it feels like in combat.
I'm sure.
Waiting for so long for something to happen made it a fiercer surprise when it finally did. Very well put. But yeah, so here's where the actual battle takes place. And my notes, again, we went from, just thoughts to capitalization. once again, we go to page 358 here. Peter Billings takes the bullet. We don't know at this point whether or not he's alive. Spoiler, he is. He made it. Sims had shattered the window to make it easier for them to shoot through. The giant man fumbled with his rifle, but never got it reloaded. That's what I'm thinking. So I'll read that whole passage. The hail of the bullets hit the man unseen. The conference room was in ambush, a side-on attack. The large man shook some of the wildfire, got lucky. His beard sagged as his mouth parted. His rifle was cracked in half, the shiny bullet between his fingers, trying to reload. The giant man fumbled with his rifle, but never got it reloaded. So I'm feeling like Knox is dead.
Yeah. He tumbled into the chairs, sending them crashing across the floor. And then that's when McLean comes in.
Yeah, she's definitely dead.
Yeah. And then Lucas killed her. Man, I highlighted that passage of Lucas killing her. Lucas pulled the trigger. His rifle flashed and lurched. And the long and terrible time it took for the bullet to cross the room, he realized it was just an old woman holding something, a bomb. Her torso spun and her chest blossomed red. The object fell. There was another awful wait, more attackers appearing, screaming in anger until an explosion blew the chairs and the people among them apart. Oh, the imagery.
Yeah, I underlined the entire next paragraph as well. I'll go ahead and jump in there. Lucas wept while a second surge made a futile attempt. He wept until his clip was empty. Wept as he fumbled for the release, shoved the spare into the butt, with the salt bitter on his lips as he drew back that bolt and let loose with another menacing hail of metal, so much stouter and quicker than the flesh it met. Damn.
Yeah, man.
Woof. This he wept until his clip was empty. Like, fuck.
That feeling of like, I can't even imagine what it feels like to take a life. Like I
don't want to.
I mean, I guess I can't imagine, but I can't really understand the feeling. Like I just imagine it would be something that breaks your brain, something that
100%.
like just changes who you are. Like you think about people who end up committing mass shootings and killing many people so frequently, they take their own lives at the end of it. And I often think about like what it must be like in their shoes of these like moments of I'm angry enough to do this thing. And then that click, that set in their head of, oh shit, I just did this thing. Yeah. And like, how do you live with that? And I think that people just probably break, and that's why they kill themselves, because they can't live with all the carnage and all the death that they had just created.
I believe it. Yeah. It's awful. One note before we close this chapter, we don't hear anything about Mark. So he's the only one of the named characters in that battle that we haven't heard anything about.
Oh, interesting.
So
I mean, we
I'm
also
curious.
don't know for sure that Knox is dead, but with the line about the bodies, the bomb coming in right after Knox was knocked, the explosion that blew the chairs and the people among them apart, like it's very likely everybody in that room, Mark, Knox, McLean, they're all dead. Everybody that came with them, they're all dead.
Yeah.
We don't know for sure, but
it's strange to not get him called out in some fashion.
Yeah.
We have a named character that we have no information on. I can't imagine him essentially, quote unquote, dying off screen is what that is.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like they've built him out a lot to just write him out.
In movies all the time when I'm watching with my kids and like somebody dies and they're like, was that so-and-so, whatever main character? I'm like, I don't think so, because we didn't see it very well. We just like, from a distance, if it was a main character, it would have been a close-up. We would have seen it.
Yeah, there'd have been some emotion built in. And that's what I'm thinking. So I feel like Mark is probably still alive. He may not be in good shape. He may have taken that blast and be one of the people running away that Sims and his team are chasing. So there's a lot of possibility, and we don't have information on him. All we know is Shirley, Mark, and Courtney, unknown. Knox, probably not great. McLean, definitely dead. Those are like the only bits of information we have on our side, I guess. The ones we're rooting for, with the exception of Lucas. Right. Oh, it's so wrong. So the fact that there are people on both sides.
I really love how they get us to care so much about Lucas, and yet he's put on the wrong side. He fights for them. He murders people that we care about, that we want to see survive, and yet somehow Hugh kept us still rooting for Lucas.
In his corner, very, very well done. This man's writing. I know I've said it probably 20 times in this podcast, but damn, he is so good. I really love the way he writes.
While I was waiting for us to record this last part, I knew I couldn't continue reading Wool, so I picked up another book, and I strongly considered picking up Halfway Home, another one of Hugh's books that I haven't read. But I'm like, I don't want to be overlapping Hugh books, so I picked up a Discworld book instead. But I almost picked up Halfway Home, and I probably will after we're done.
Nice. Yeah, give yourself a little breathing room between this and what is it? Shift? Yeah, Shift is the next one.
Yeah. I mean, unless we jump straight into Shift, but I know you've got some other stuff to record first.
Yeah, I've got two guests following you, and I think you're going to be the fourth season as well.
Okay.
So we'll do first season, then we got two others. But I'm looking forward to getting into that one as well. But rolling into chapter 52, the last of this section, the Unraveling. Boy, again, it's a very, very short chapter. I think it's 5. It's literally 4.5 pages of 4.5 pages of text, and it's a lot. This is where we find out that Bernard kind of gains his senses again, pulls Lucas aside, like, what the hell are we doing? We shouldn't be on the front lines. We find out that IT only lost 3 people. Billings is alive. the quote is, we've got three men dead, a few wounded. They got it a lot worse than us, a lot worse. So
yeah,
it doesn't make me feel great about the chances.
I do think it's also interesting here. We get to the Bernard comment that I was talking about earlier about how it was stupid that he had Lucas there. He's like, didn't know they'd have guns, should have guessed about the bombs. And I'm like, I guess that kind of makes sense why he would have put Lucas on the front lines, because he thought that it wasn't going to be a big deal. In the same way that Mechanical thought they'd just like breeze on in and take it and, call it a day.
Neither knew the other side had guns.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, even if you're going into a fist fight, you don't put your VP in the front line.
Absolutely.
That's just a silly thing to do. But you're right. There was a lack of information from both sides, like a serious lack of information from both sides, and it got a lot of people killed. And then there's this whole thing where he was talking to Sims. He says, "I think it's over." And then near the bottom, Lucas says, "But we won, right?" And then Bernard responds, "Not yet. The damage won't be contained here. Not today. You'll have to stay below for a while." So now he's really thinking defensively. And he feels like there's definitely a win in the future. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said not yet.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he thinks there's a win necessarily. He does say not yet, but I feel like he is more saying like, this isn't over. It's just not over.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Like, yeah, there is this, but there's going to be more. There's more that we have to do to maintain, sanity here in the silo, or there's more that they're going to try to do. Either way, he knows that they're at risk. And this is when he's finally like, "Hey, Lucas, you're going to have to stay down in the hidey hole because we can't risk both of us dying."
Yeah. Yeah. And smart move, honestly. So they get to the hidey hole. And there is a flashing code on the server's front panel. He believes that it's Silo 1 calling. So he plugs in the unit to Silo 1 and starts a call on accident, not realizing that, oh, shit, no, Silo 17, a dead Silo is calling. I love it.
Yeah.
And so he answers, "Hello? Is anyone there?" "Hello," a voice said. So he doesn't know who it is.
Yeah. And then she says, "I hear you. Is this who I think it is?"
Yeah. You sent
Bernard,
me out.
Who the fuck is this? How do you have access to? Yeah. Is this Bernard? You sent me to die. So
it's good. It's so good. So he said, she says, "Are you there? Do you know who this is?" "No," he said, but he knew. It was impossible, but he knew. Oh, fuck. I love her.
You sent me to die, so you fuck. And then the very last line, the last thing she says to him, "I'm coming for you. I'm coming home, and I'm coming to clean."
Hell yes, she did. I love it. So good. So that is the end of the Unraveling. My God, what a section.
What a good section.
Oh, so
it good. Definitely unraveled.
Yeah, no kidding. So this was a very long section, and the next is actually more than twice the length.
Yeah.
For the listeners at home, I think what we're going to be doing, we're going to be taking this in, I think, 3 parts because it's such a large section. So for you then, we're going to be reading to chapter 11. For us that have the physical book, it's going to be chapter 64.
Okay.
So we'll stop at that point. We'll read up to the end of 63. And then, we will reconvene and talk about whatever craziness is coming next. Because, God, I'm excited, man. This was a hell of a section. And this is a hell of a book.
Absolutely.
I cannot wait to see what's coming next because it's going to be a shit show. Can't imagine it not being.
And this section is called The Stranded. So obviously it's going to be focusing on who's stranded. And I suspect that it's going to be a lot of not just like, oh, Juliet is stranded over in Silo 17, but it's going to, like everything else, it's going to be a lot of like the stranded aspect of having this uprising. Lucas being stranded in the silo within a silo.
IT, yeah.
It's going to have a lot of meanings, just like everything else has so far.
That could be also the people that have been stranded in the dead silos.
Maybe. Maybe
not just 17, but all right.
We might see other silos. I mean, I've only been looking at the title chapters for a few chapters, and so far it's just 17 and 18 back and forth. But there might be another one in there.
I'm not looking ahead like
I'm not
that.
I'm not gonna keep looking and spoil anything for ourselves. But
yeah, I'm just excited to get there. But yeah, folks, cannot wait to see you in the next episodes, and check out the Patreon. Come hang out on Discord. We've got a few people in there already chatting, and yeah, can't wait to see you next time.
Look forward to it.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us between the covers of today's story. If you'd like to help keep Shelf Indulgence alive and growing, you'll find our Patreon link in the description. Your support helps write the next chapter. A rating or review wherever you listen also helps other readers discover us and means more to me than you know. Most of all, thank you so much for being a part of this journey. I truly hope you'll keep turning the pages with us. Book by book, story by story. We'll see you next time.